Hey, Ron.
Everybody, it's Wednesday. We have a special guest, Tom Brown, and I think he's going to tell us about an Elvis sighting we can see here in Franklin in the
A
next,
few.
like tomorrow, less than 24 hours, right?
That's right. It's going to be multiple sightings, actually, especially if you're anywhere around the factory at Franklin. There's going to be, gosh, let's see, 20 contestants, 10 headliners. So there's 30 sightings right there.
30 sightings of Elvis in
Yeah,
different stages. It's all going to be incredible. It's the Elvis Festival celebrating 10 years in Franklin. I can't believe it's
yeah.
been 10 years.
I know you were on board with us very early. We were doing these interviews in the first few years, and you were one of our
Yes.
early supporters. Thank you for that.
Yes.
We've grown over the last 10 years. We love Franklin. We love the whole area here. And because the Nashville area, especially Nashville downtown, RCA, had such a connection with Elvis with about 250 songs that he recorded there. Famously got booted off the Grand Ole Opry after one performance, and they told him to go back and drive a truck. So he got over that and loved Nashville to come back and record. But yeah, 10 years, it's amazing that we've been here that long. And it's amazing this last few months, Elvis is bigger than ever with the Baz Luhrmann epic film that has been in theaters.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. How do you feel about these? I know we asked about a couple of the other films and stuff that came out, but how do you feel each time you see one of these new things that come out?
Well, it's interesting because it creates the movie a few years ago that Baz directed with Austin Butler playing Elvis and Tom Hanks playing Colonel Parker gave the Hollywood kind of version of what Elvis's life was like, but it served an incredible purpose. It brought him to a younger generation who saw the film and discovered this man not through their grandparents or their parents, but through a movie. And
Mm.
I think something about the image of Elvis and his life and his what happened to him throughout his life inspired young people, and young people have kind of embraced him now and found him and kind of are holding him up as their own. And then Baz, when he worked on that film Elvis a few years ago, discovered a lot of footage that had been lost through the years from two of the documentaries that were shot with Elvis in the 70s. That's the Way It Is and Elvis on Tour. So we put together a film called Epic, which is Elvis Presley in concert. And it's a documentary slash concert film slash extravaganza that stays completely focused on him, on Elvis. And the only people you hear talking is just Elvis telling his story. And now I think now that that younger generation has discovered the story of Elvis, they're discovering him through that epic film. And it's like welcome to the club, to the new
Right?
fan.
And his music, I think some of those younger people too are also recognizing his music is universal. And whether you realize it's him or not, you're hearing his songs a lot and
Yeah.
in different things.
Yeah, they've heard them and not even known them. If they saw Lilo and Stitch when they were little in the movie
Yeah.
theater, they might have not known who Elvis was, but they heard that music. And we hear this all the time from people that they became a fan when they just heard and saw him, and there was just something about him that
Yeah.
just spoke to them, and it cut through time, and they're welcome on board like we said to be a fan. There's so much there's his life is so rich in excuse me, positive and negative. There's a great life story there to learn from.
Definitely, for sure. Also, Franklin recently hosted Priscilla Presley brought her book tour to the Franklin Theater. So I
Yes.
think and it was packed. I was there. It was packed out that night.
Yeah, that was our original home where we started the festival. And Priscilla's a friend of mine, and I talked to her and I said, you're going to a place that's been very good to us in Franklin, and she has a lot of friends still around the Nashville area. So I'm glad you got to see her, because
Yeah.
I think she's one of the reasons that this Elvis world is as big as it is now, in the fact that Graceland as a destination is something that she really saved in the early 80s when the estate was in bad financial shape. And she stepped in as Lisa's guardian to really help save the house. I mean, tours are what paid for it to survive all these years.
Yeah, that's amazing. But back to the festival.
Yes.
We got so many people coming. You got special guests.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that because that's always fun because there's always a connection to Elvis, which is so fascinating to me because you bring in more people that I didn't even know had a connection.
Yeah, the thing that we've always been very proud about in Nashville from the first year is, we're a festival. We're about tribute artists and about holding him up and these young people who perform as him on stage and try to match his moves and sound and things. We know they can't be Elvis, but what we've always tried to do is to have people attend that as our guests that did know Elvis, that did maybe work with him or were friends with him, and on their way right now as we talk, because I just spoke to him when he got on the plane in Los Angeles. Jerry Schilling is on the way to Franklin, and he'll be here with Sandy Martindale, who is Wink Martindale's widow. Wink and Sandy and Jerry were at the very first Nashville Elvis Festival 10 years ago, and we lost Wink last year, who was a good friend of mine, a game show legend. If you were
Yes.
ever homesick in the 70s watching TV,
Yes.
you saw Wink Martindale. But he was a friend of Elvis. He was a DJ in Memphis when he was 20 years old and knew Elvis. And Sandy is coming to speak tomorrow at a special event. Jerry Schilling will be there as part of that special event and telling their stories, and people get their picture with them and get autographed books and things like that. So we're kicking off with the real man from the people that knew him, and they're going to be here all weekend, kind of hanging out, doing things. Sandy's going to be one of our judges. There's just going to be a lot of things. We've got the festival is two things. It's headlining shows, but it's also a contest. It's also younger and newer tribute artists competing to represent Nashville in this qualifier for the ultimate contest that's held at Graceland in August during Elvis Week. So it's a competition and a show.
Yeah.
It's both things. But a few years ago, one of our representatives, the guy that won Nashville, Emilio Santoro from England, he won the ultimate. So Nashville was represented on the big stage.
Wow.
But I'm just sitting here now putting together my remarks, and I mean, we've got contestants from Canada and South America and
Wow.
Norway. I was just sitting here looking at and reading the story of the man from Norway, whose father is a minister and was drawn to the gospel music of Elvis, and Elvis's music, all music by Elvis, gospel and rock and everything, has been a part of his family for 3 generations in Norway.
That's wild. That
So
is wild.
I know there's something about I've met tribute artists who can't speak any English. There's a gentleman from Japan named Toki, and he can really not speak English, but he can talk like Elvis because he memorized the notes and the sounds on the record album, and he doesn't know what he's saying, but he's thank you very much, thank you very much. And it's fascinating. You wouldn't know. He just is a perfect, you know, tribute to Elvis. So that music has just broken down through nations and through generations, and it's fascinating. So we've got Jerry and Sandy. We've got Jim Murray is going to be part of our gospel show on Sunday morning. He was a member of Elvis's Imperials, the gospel quartet that sang behind Elvis in the early years in Las Vegas. And Jim is all over Epic. You can see what would it be, 56 years younger Jim Murray all over the Epic film, on stage with Elvis and backstage with Elvis. So he's part of the gospel. We have 9 shows, 10 shows, and the
10
special
shows.
event. So
Wow.
there's plenty of different eras of Elvis covered. We're doing a tribute to 1956 because it's the 70th anniversary of 1956. We're doing a
Wow.
tribute to the Jungle Room sessions, where Elvis went into the living room there at Graceland, in the Jungle Room, and recorded 2 albums. And it's the 50th anniversary of that. And Jimmy Holmes, who was an Ultimate Champion from the U.S., is going to be performing some of those songs. And Diogo Light, who is a winner of the Nashville Elvis Festival a few years ago, and from Brazil, he's a lawyer in Brazil, and he's coming here to pay tribute.
That's
It's
crazy.
just a fascinating, I'm such a part of ingrained into the world. Sometimes it's hard for me to step back and go, Diogo's a lawyer in
Yeah,
Brazil. I mean, what a
that's
cool lawyer
wild.
that would be. So yeah, they're just and not only about the artist, it's something about the fans that come not only to our festival but to all the festivals. I mean, these festivals happen around the world. Qualifiers to send winners to Memphis happen all over the world. It's the fans who get two things from the concerts. They get, if they saw Elvis, if they were around when he was alive, it makes them feel that way again, you know,
Right.
because they might have been a 14-year-old girl in 54 and all these years have passed and they get to feel that way again. But they also get to make friends because think about it, if you're attending an Elvis festival, chances are you're going to be sitting all around covered and surrounded by Elvis fans. So you automatically have something in common. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, so where are you from? When did you start listening to Elvis? Who was it in your life? It's probably a grandmother or a mother. But with the younger people, it'll be Baz Luhrmann, it'll be Austin Butler, it'll be Epic. So there's so many new friendships. And Jerry Schilling says something very interesting, I think, about Elvis. He said, Elvis loved to bring people together, and he's still doing it.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's a good point.
yeah,
Good point. Well, there's so many, like you said, there's 10 shows. If you're new here and you have never been to a show, I don't know where you've been. It's been 10 years. Get
yeah,
on
really.
board, come to a show. But what would you recommend for someone if they needed to come to a show this
I
weekend?
would recommend the whole weekend. Let's see. We on Friday night there's a show called The Elvis Story that I think is really neat, and it kind of tells Elvis's story from 54 on stage to 77. So it's a great career retrospective with video and all kinds of cool stuff happening. There's that. There's a tribute to 1956. Like I said, the 70th anniversary. If you're a lover of all the early rock and roll, there's that Jungle Room session. If you're, I'm a '70s guy myself. I was a teenager in the '70s, and that was my music on 8 track. I was listening to in my little car, or my big car. It was a Buick LeSabre, the size of a battleship.
Yeah.
Um, but there's and gospel. If you love gospel music, we consistently get people telling us that Sunday morning at 11, our gospel show is something that they just really love because we've always tried to have someone either from gospel music as a guest or from gospel music that worked with Elvis. So we've had all kinds of singers from the Stamps and the Imperials. And like I said, this year will be Jim Murray from the Imperials, who stood on stage with Elvis. Think about it. Elvis did rock and roll shows, but in that show, there was always a moment where that gospel quartet, be it the Imperials or the Stamps, they would sit back and they would do a gospel song. How Great Thou
Mhm.
Art, Why Me, Lord, Chris Christopherson, Amazing Grace. And there were probably a lot of people at those rock concerts in the '70s that heard their first gospel from Elvis in a rock
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's amazing. I heard there's just a few tickets left. We'll put a link in here, but you
yeah.
got to go see one of the shows. It's right here in Franklin. You got to go check it out.
It's what we love about it is, and the factory's been so great because our shows are at 11, 3, and 7:30, that you can come and you don't have to leave. You can just go into the factory and go shopping, go to some of the restaurants or bars, and hang out until it's time for the next show. And that's
Yeah.
where everybody gets to kind of congregate. The factory has kind of become a clubhouse of Elvis fans during this weekend. And every year we have more and more of the merchants there at the factory kind of putting Elvis in the window and offering discounts and blue suede ice cream or blue suede donuts or whatever. I mean, there's always so many cool Elvis things that the stores have put in place because they know the place is swarming with Elvis fans.
Yes. Well, we've given you the heads up. There will be Elvis sightings this weekend.
Yes, there
We've told
will.
you where to find them. So now all you got to do is buy the ticket and go see it. I have seen the shows before. They've been amazing. Something you've probably never seen. And I love to tell people they're not impersonators, they're tribute artists. So they take this very
Yeah.
seriously. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, they study the moves. They wear the proper rings with the proper jumpsuit doing the song from the era. And I have to say something about the band too. Infinity is our tribute band. They study Elvis's musicians and songs the way these guys study Elvis's moves. I mean, when you tell the band you want to do Blue Suede Shoes, well, do you want to do Blue Suede Shoes from the album in the 50s? Do you want to do the live version from the 50s? Do you want to do the version he did in the 68 comeback special? Or do you want to do the version he did in the 70s? There's all these different versions of just one song. And that goes that way with multiple songs. And all you have to do is tell them what version you want to go. Okay, we got it. So they're paying tribute to all those great Elvis musicians as well.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, there's just so much. We could talk forever. It's great to catch up with you and talk about this again. Good luck. It starts tomorrow.
That's right. Yes.
Goes
I
through
lost track of the
Sunday.
days. You were reminding me today is Wednesday. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you for that because it's closer than I thought it was.
I know.
NashvilleElvisFestival.com, all the details. I guarantee you, if you're an Elvis fan, you'll have a great time. If you're a fan and you've got somebody that's not a fan, bring them because we will work on them because I had somebody tell me they went to see Epic and they had not really been an Elvis fan, but they were kind of that plus one that went with somebody to see Epic. And they came out and they texted me and they said, oh my God, I get it now.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of those people that are very new to seeing what Elvis is. And we invite them to Nashville because, and here in Franklin, to the Nashville Elvis Festival, because they're going to get as close as possible to that fun feeling. And it's just the audience goes wild and crazy. And, some of the guys are handing out scarves and kisses just like Elvis did. So
They are. That is the first time I saw that, however many years ago, 9 or 10 years ago now. I was like, what is going on? But they really the fans know what to do. The ones who really know, they're up there.
That's true. That's true. Well, I get to host the festival and do the intros, but some of the guys pull me up on stage and I get to be Charlie Hodge, who was Elvis's. Elvis used to introduce Charlie. He said, yeah, he's playing guitar, singing harmony, and he gives me my waters and my scarves. And so that's what I get to do. I get to be Charlie Hodge and give waters and scarves.
Okay. I've not, in 10 years, I've not received a scarf. I think I'm going to have to show up this year and see if I can get a scarf.
You gotta come down front. And when I'll see you down there and I'll tell Elvis to like that one right there.
Okay. And I'll give you the signal.
They launch them off their collars, they like launch.
Yeah. I know. It's smooth. It's just like easy. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, you guys go check it out. Thanks again, Tom.
Thanks, Donna, for always being there for us. We appreciate it.